Hello everyone, and welcome to the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm of course your host TJ, coming to you today to talk about a fantastic new Appalachian horror novel, Nowhere by Allison Gunn. Now I had the pleasure of meeting Allison a few weeks ago at a book signing in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, where we were both at the table, along with another author whose work I'll be reviewing later. And I knew as soon as I read the description for this and kind of got the feel for it that I was going to love it. I do not read a lot of horror, but I do love Appalachian horror, and this novel more than delivers. Set in Virginia, in this small town called Falmouth, and it focuses on Rachel and Finn, who are a married couple who are really kind of going through it because their son was killed in a car accident after Finn wrecked their SUV while drunk, supposedly by avoiding hitting a deer, but that's, Rachel doesn't buy that. Now, Rachel and Finn have a very complicated relationship to start with because Rachel is queer, Finn is very much not, and it's clear that, there are difficulties emerged even before the fatal accident. So I think one of the things that I enjoyed a great deal about Nowhere is the extent to which it captures really nicely the sort of horror of being a human and being in fraught, difficult human relationships. Like, I think the best horror is that which is not just the supernatural, but also explores the sort of dark underbelly of our own subconscious. And in that regard, Nowhere very much succeeds. I wouldn't say that either Rachel or Finn are particularly likable. They're understandable, but that's a different thing. They're both kind of jackasses and assholes to each other and to pretty much everyone else. But, remember, these are two people dealing with tremendous trauma and deep-rooted unhappiness. It's clear that their relationship has been poisoned long before the accident, and that's, there's something uniquely horrifying about being in that difficult situation. It certainly doesn't help that Rachel has undiagnosed, mental health issues, or maybe they're diagnosed, but she's not really treating them. That Finn himself has deep-rooted, violent impulses that are coming out. And then, as if all of this wasn't enough, they have two children surviving, our elder daughter Charlie, younger daughter Lucy, but they, unfortunately, all of their lives sort of intersect with these sinister beings that are living in the woods nearby. Now, if you've ever been to Appalachia, whether it be West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, etc., and you've been near the woods, there's something uniquely unsettling about Appalachian woods. Something maybe it is about the antiquity of that region, that, the Appalachians are a very old mountain range with a lot of history, both geologically and culturally. I don't know, whatever it is, it makes a very good setting for these kind of strange beings that come out and sort of take possession. There are going to be some spoilers, so just be forewarned. So, these are kind of I guess you could call them the Fae folk, because there's a little bit of Scotch-Irish mythology tying in here. Certainly, these are not Tolkien kind of elves. These are the more changeling kind of sinister beings that are malicious and don't like humans, and are determined to make humans' lives miserable, and in some cases steal children, and to sow chaos. And there's all sorts of description of the way that the world is thinner in Falmouth, and I'm wondering if Falmouth is an allusion to Innsmouth, which is of course H.P. Lovecraft's one of his famous locations. Maybe not. I don't know. It's a nice little rhyme anyway with it, and I think it's there is a bit of Lovecraftianness in the sense that we have these beings that are very ancient, but also very just sort of beyond human comprehension, and as their presence intersects even more with Finn and Rachel and the other people of the town, it obviously creates much more chaos and darkness and violence and death. And so, it's a really grim novel, and it's a really kind of richly atmospheric one. It really kind of immerses you in the milieu of Appalachia. If you've ever been to small town Appalachia with its prejudices and, the good things and the bad, I think you'll see a lot that's recognizable in this novel. I just was enraptured by it. I read a lot, obviously, but there are very few books that grab me and hold me and keep me reading for days, for several nights in a row where I stay up past my bedtime. And this is the kind of book that will make you, afraid to go to sleep. And to me, that's always the mark of a really good horror novel, is when it's oh, fuck, I can't sleep because I've gotten too scared of this. And I just thought it was terrific. I thought that Gunn is very adept at giving us really interesting and often frustrating characters, a sort of sinister environment in which the novel takes place. Like I said, if you've ever been to Appalachia and those woods, there's a sense that something is there, something is waiting for you. And this novel makes that explicit. The evil is real. It is very much real. And there is no happy ending. A lot of horror movies and a lot of horror books have some kind of happy ending. This one does not. This is a very much, I wouldn't say it's nihilist, but it is definitely a grimmer ending than perhaps we're used to in much horror fiction. But I think that that's deliberate. and it shows that sometimes there really just aren't happy endings, either in real life or in horror books. So, I love this as a Pisces. We love our feelings. We love being, frightened. We even love the darkness. I mean, I'm an optimist, but I love exploring sort of the darker aspects of human experience. And in that regard, I think that Nowhere is very successful. There's a whole, mythology that's undergirding all this, so I don't know if Gunn has plans to return to this universe, because there is certainly room for exploration. The ending is very ambiguous / even more sinister than the rest of it. But if so, I will eagerly be reading it. So this definitely gets the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture seal of approval. I do very much recommend it, not just because I know Allison and I think she's fantastic and a very gracious author, but I just think it's a terrific and very frightening read that is a great fit for Appalachian Lit. I think that there's so much untapped horror potential in Appalachia. It's getting there. I mean, we have Old Gods of Appalachia and other sort of horror works, but there's still so much to be explored and so much to be tapped into to scare the bejesus out of us. So, anyway, I definitely hope that you go check out Nowhere by Allison Gunn. Very fantastic book, especially for a debut, so I cannot recommend it highly enough. So, as always, for the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture, thanks so much for listening. I'm, of course, your host, TJ. Take care, y'all.